Coming up on ATV News, American University students enrolled in the spring 2020 semester are getting some money back.
And renovations are coming to the Mary Graydon Center and the Terrace Dining Room. All this and more coming up on ATV News. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Ashley Totten.
And I'm Barbosa. Thanks for joining us. Due to the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, American University students did not get the full in-person learning experience they were promised. A class action lawsuit over this difference in expectations may result in AU alumni getting some money back. 7,000 American University graduates could soon get a refund from the school.
I looked through my junk mail in my email, and I had an email basically outlining that there was an agreement that they had come to, and that there was a lawsuit that I didn't even know that was going on.
A $5 million settlement. 3 former AU students filed lawsuits against the university in May of 2020 after the COVID-19 pandemic pushed classes online and students off campus. The alums say AU broke their promise of in-person instruction and social opportunities that online schooling no longer met. AU alum Mimi Tinchevsky, a member of the class of 2023, says they felt the negative impacts of online school.
Especially as a college student, you're supposed to be forming your identity, and I feel like a lot of that is through your peers and classmates and that sort of thing, but when you don't really have that opportunity, it's dark and lonely.
Most alum are expected to receive up to $500 back from their initial $25,000 payment if the settlement is approved in May. Tinchevsky says they are surprised to be receiving money at all, despite getting just 2% of what they paid 4 years ago.
I'm a little bit confused, to be honest, but I don't know. To me, it's kind of just getting money back that I wasn't really anticipating on getting back. So that's kind of cool.
For ATV News, this is Bea Barbosa.
Parts of the Terrace Dining Room are undergoing layout changes and renovations. ATV's Sam Makarczyk has the story.
Into the Terrace Dining Room, more commonly known as TDR this semester, you're sure to have noticed that a whole section is blocked off. This is because TDR is undergoing a complete renovation, its first in nearly 40 years. While TDR's capacity limits have dropped from 600 to 500 people, many students have still found it difficult to find a spot to eat during peak dining hours.
The space is extremely lacking, specifically for groups of more than about 3 or 4. It can be extremely challenging to find a table. It is also often very hard to navigate the basically single hallway in between both sides of TDR.
In its current state, TDR has moved some of its food stations around. The most notable is the Kosher Nook, which lost its physical spot in TDR because it was originally in the Phase 1 construction section. Instead, students should ask a worker at the United Table Station to receive an already made-to-go kosher meal. If you have any other dietary restriction or concerns with TDR's restructuring, feel free to reach out to our campus dietitian, Taylor Guskin. The dining process will undergo the next phase of renovation starting in early April and finishing right before the start of the fall 2024 semester. In this next phase, TDR will be closed completely. Unlike previously announced, there will be no giant tent on the quad to serve students. Instead, there is a plan to serve meals on the first floor of MGC, along with additional seating there and around the quad. There will also be an increase in special events like barbecues and food trucks. For ATV News, I'm Sam Makarczyk.
TDR isn't the only thing revamped in the Mary Graydon Center. The 3rd floor is being fully renovated as well. The company North Star is completing the removal of asbestos containing building components. It is expected to be finished by the end of February. According to a January 18th email from AU administration, the goal of the renovation is that areas of the 3rd floor will serve as more flexible and focused student spaces in the future and include the new Student Engagement Commons. The Academic Support and Access Center that used to be located on the 3rd floor of MGC has now moved to its new location on the 3rd floor of Butler Pavilion, right above the bridge where the campus store was previously. Once construction is finished on MGC's 3rd floor, a full renovation of the 2nd floor will begin. The renovations are part of the vision for a new student thriving complex, which will also include the new Meltzer Center for Athletic Performance and Sports Center Annex. The new building will be located behind Bender Arena. The outdoor basketball and tennis courts have been closed in preparation for the construction of the new buildings. The outdoor sports courts weren't the only things affected. ATV reporter Grace Harman has the story on how the community garden is adapting to the new athletic buildings.
The AU Community Garden is one step closer to welcoming club members to their new home on campus. The garden relocation process began after plans for a new athletic complex near the grounds of the old community garden were released in spring 2022. Arboretum manager Michael Mastroda says the facilities team met with club members as soon as they found out the garden would be displaced.
We looked at several potential spots. This location seemed to be the best.
The new plot is more centrally located, bordering a walkway between Knudson Arts Center and Nebraska Hall.
But this new project was more involved than simply picking up the existing garden and moving it somewhere else on campus.
In fact, Mastroda says the facilities team has been working closely with students in the club on a number of improvements.
So far, we've done the irrigation improvements. We've moved some trees out of the way and installed the shed. And in the coming weeks, there's going to be a new fence going around the perimeter and new planters and new soil coming in.
If everything goes to plan, Mastroda says the garden should be ready for tending come March 1st. For ATV News, I'm Grace Harman.
Students across campus are celebrating Black History Month this February. Organizations like AU's Black Student Union are hosting events throughout the month where students can come to connect and have fun. Event dates can be found at AU Black Union U on Instagram. In partnership with the BSU, the DAV Coffee Lounge is donating the proceeds from February's Drink of the Month to the Safe Sisters Circle. The nonprofit provides trauma-based services for Black women living in DC.
Coming up, AU Eaglethon participants have been raising money this week for a good cause while listening to Taylor Swift.
And the Makers Club on campus celebrates Valentine's Day and their loved ones. All of this and more coming up after the break.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere, and just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Welcome back to ATV News. Eaglethon at American University is raising money for a good cause, making crafts and listening to Taylor Swift. ATV reporter Julianne Sheehan has the story.
AU students are banding together for a good cause.
But at the end of the day, it's just about doing good and helping as many people as we can.
Members of Eaglethon work to fundraise year-round for Children's National Hospital. Working so closely with the hospital has touched the hearts of members like Jack Migrants.
I loved being a kid. I loved playing with my friends and being out and about. And to think that there are kids that don't have that opportunity it's hard.
Leading up to their main fundraisers, the club hosted a Taylor Swift night. Members came together to craft and listen to music, making more than just paper rings.
I really like it because I like Taylor Swift's song, and I really like making bracelets when I'm listening to Taylor Swift songs.
Eaglethon will be hosting a Battle of the Bands and a dance-a-thon later this semester. Other than hosting enchanting events, Eaglethon remains committed to philanthropy.
I have a commitment to the kids that I want to be able to provide them with the best health care and help the families. So.
Attendees texted friends and family for a 10-minute pledge to see how much money they could raise while listening to Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version. More information on spring events can be found at AU Eaglethon on Instagram. For ATV News, I'm Julianne Sheehan.
This semester, American University is implementing new protest regulations on campus. University officials released an email stating the updated policies. The email states that the protests should refrain from blocking people or vehicles from moving freely and refrain from blocking entrances and exits to buildings. It also prohibits protest inside buildings. Some student organizations are upset by the new restrictions, especially the ban on protesting indoors. This includes Students for Justice in Palestine, a club that has organized many protests in front of the Mary Graydon Center in the past few months. A member of Students for Justice in Palestine commented on the policy after a recent protest, saying it's honestly ridiculous to expect people on campus to not speak their minds on injustice. University officials say the policies are meant to build a safer AU community.
AU Arts is opening their doors on February 22nd to bring us the 3-time Tony Award-winning show, Urinetown. Urinetown tells the story of a society run by corporate greed. Suffering from a 20-year drought amid the conditions, citizens are refused access to basic amenities like water and the ability to use the bathroom, until one brave hero rises up and decides enough is enough. Produced for Broadway in 2001, Urinetown is a satire that's been praised by critics for reinvigorating what a musical can be in a self-aware and clever way that can get a laugh out of anyone, while still asking us tough questions about responsibility and our place in the world. Actor Jared Kirschenbaum, who plays the character Lockstock, says that Urinetown is a show with a lot to say, and he's excited to see the show come together.
It has a very strong moral center. It's all about, having blind faith and why having blind faith, maybe isn't the best thing to have.
Tickets are available on the AU Arts website and are free for all AU students. The show will run at the Greenberg Theater in Tenleytown from February 22nd to 24th.
American University's Academic Integrity Code is being rewritten for the first time in over 16 years. The Office of Academic Integrity says they're working closely with the Office of the Provost to create a new code that addresses the questions and concerns of today's students, including the use of artificial intelligence. Assistant Dean of Academic Integrity, Allison Thomas, says one of the goals of the new code is to establish expectations that guide the use of AI not only with current technologies, but of the future tools that are likely to emerge. Thomas says faculty opinion of AI is across a huge spectrum, with a notable portion of staff expressing interest in exploring AI as a tool and developing student literacy. Alexis Glasgow, an academic integrity coordinator, says the students she's connected with during feedback sessions want to more normalized conversations about AI and clear examples of acceptable uses of AI from professors.
Art history professor Joanne Allen isn't just an educator in art. She is an artist herself. Professor Allen's exhibition, Infinite Geometries Exploring the Arts of the Medieval Islamic at the Knudson Art Center, integrates geometric patterns and mathematical achievements in its drawings, oil paintings, relief prints, and more to create an intercultural space of meditation. Allen's exhibition is on display now through March 1st in the Rotunda of Knudson Art Center, and is open to the public.
I'd really like them to look at the intricate, complex geometrical patterns and to admire them for what they are, but also to think that these were done in the Middle Ages, a time when you might think that there wasn't so much complexity in artwork. And so it really reveals just how complex and how intricate the art of the Middle Ages actually was.
This week, clubs around campus are celebrating Valentine's Day. Specifically, Makers at AU showed their love with arts and crafts for loved ones. Shou Takanohashi reports.
This past Monday, Makers at AU hosted their first workshop of the year, Valentine's Day gift making in the Design and Build Lab in the MTI building. Participants used their computers and a variety of tools to design and create recordable Valentine's Day cards, t-shirts, and many others for their friends and significant others.
Today I'm making a t-shirt of a squirrel. Making it for him for Valentine's Day.
I wanted to make a t-shirt for my girlfriend. It's my first time here, so I'm definitely going to be back. This place is really, really cool.
Last semester, the club hosted a series of events ranging from Halloween costume making, candle making, and quilting workshops. President Kennedy Smith says the club plans to keep hosting engaging events throughout the semester, with plans for collaborations with other student organizations.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just like you know, Valentine's Day is coming up. I mean, it's a great place for you to make something for, like, significant other, friends, just, you know, wanting to give people an outlet to make things rather than, like, buy something. Because one, you know, a homemade gift can feel a little bit more heartfelt. The possibilities of who we could collaborate with are endless. So we're always down for collaboration.
AU organizations such as Makers will continue to host educational and entertaining events throughout the semester. For ATV News, I'm Shou Takanohashi.
You know, I'm a little bummed. Valentine's Day fell during midterms this year.
Yeah, but you know, some flowers and chocolates, that's the perfect thing to help with studying.
That's true. That's true.
That's all for today. I'm Ashley Totten.
And I'm Barbosa. Good luck with any upcoming exams, and we'll see you soon for our next broadcast.